Yeah, let's talk about what's going on. We're a couple weeks out from the National Football League draft. This is intriguing. Houston Texans hold the second pick in the draft. Carolina traded into number one. They're going to take one of the quarterbacks. Houston meeting today with C.J. Stroud. But the bigger rumor is that Houston has now got at least 6 potential trade partners out there. Somebody that wants to trade in to the number 2 spot. How far down does Houston want to go? I don't think they want to go too far down. I've been told that they want to draft Will Anderson, the stud blitz linebacker from the University of Alabama. If they trade from 2 down to 4 with Indianapolis, they could probably still get Anderson. If they trade beyond that, that might not happen. So Houston's got another first-round pick in addition to the number 2 pick, so they could still go get a quarterback at 12 if they wanted to. So keep that in mind. Houston is playing the trade game. The more conversation with the Colts, I think, than anything else. The Raiders might be in the mix. Seattle might be in the mix. Seattle's got the 5th pick. They might jump up to 2. Raiders have the 7th pick. They might try to jump up to get 2. Although what the Raiders are doing makes no sense to me at all. You gave Jimmy Garoppolo all this money, and now you're trying to trade up to get maybe C.J. Stroud. That doesn't make any sense. So keep that in mind. The Baltimore situation. The Ravens, they get Odell Beckham. Well, they didn't sign him to have some backup quarterback throw bounce passes to him. And because of the fact Lamar Jackson was the go-between that convinced Beckham to come to Baltimore, I got to believe this is a slam dunk. Lamar Jackson's going to play for the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know what the terms of the contract are going to be. Another week, and we still have Aaron Rodgers' mail being sent to Green Bay. Now, there is a new development there. I was told via my network sources that the Packers have gone back and they keep exchanging ideas on the Jets on the value of trading for Aaron Rodgers. And they have gone back and said, we'll take your second-round pick this year, New York. You give us your number 1 next year. Then the Jets came back and said, well, we'll give you the 2 and would consider giving you the 1 if you give us a future 2 a year from now. So they're trying to pick up, the Jets are, an additional draft pick plus AR by giving up their 2 and giving up their 1. So maybe because there is dialogue that started back up, maybe there's going to be a deal, and it's just that the Green Bay's going to have to flip another pick going towards the Jets with the 38-year-old quarterback to get what they want, which is a 2 right now and a 1 a year from now. So stay tuned for that. New leadership in Denver. How about this storyline? Russell Wilson had just a horrid season. Team fell apart around him. Nathan Hackett was overwhelmed as a head coach. Wilson was hurt. They just opened their facility to players to begin off-season training. Guess who showed up at 4:30 a.m. on Monday? Russell Wilson.
Really?
4:30 at the facility, waiting for the staff to open the weight room. He was in the building and has been in the building 4:30 most every morning, ahead of the coaches. So obviously, he's dedicated. I think he's really excited about the arrival of Sean Payton. And that's what you want from your leader.
I like it.
Let me take the flag. You follow me into the building. 4:30 in the morning is pretty doggone good. waiting for the staff to open the door to the weight room. So that's a fascinating story there. You got the entire Patriots situation, which to me is unraveling. You got the Mac Jones situation where he played poorly, where he was peeved at the fact that they had Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, defensive guys, as the co-coordinators on Belichick's staff. And then the report that came last week that Mac Jones was so upset at the deterioration of the Patriot offense, he called the coaches at Alabama that he played for to say, what should I do? What can I do? And one of the coaches he talked to was Bill O'Brien. And Bill O'Brien is now the new offensive coordinator in New England.
Okay.
But O'Brien's the Belichick guy, and O'Brien told Belichick, this is what your quarterback's doing, and Belichick's furious. And they shopped them in the offseason. Nobody wanted to trade for Mac Jones. So this really bears watching as to this relationship, whether O'Brien can be the glue that kind of puts everything back together in New England, because I think they got roster problems, and I don't know how they're going to solve it, because I don't think Belichick has been a great draft player personnel guy. And I don't think in terms of free agent acquisitions that he spent Robert Kraft's money positively. So that bears watching. So we're a couple of weeks out from the draft, but those are the dominoes that fell this week.
So tell me what you think if you were the Houston Texans, if you're going to trade back, so you're going to not pursue Stroud or Young, and you want to get some, defensive end guy, that's great. But who's going to be your starting quarterback to start the season? I mean, is it going to be one of the lesser, quarterbacks in the draft? Or are they going to roll David Mills out there again? Or are they going to try to get some other veteran? Or what do you do?
Well, their record is 11-38-1 over the last 3 years. It's pretty horrid.
Yeah.
They've turned the roster upside down. All the stars of yesteryear, starting with Deshaun Watson and J.J. Watt and DeAndre Hopkins, are all gone. Somewhere along the road, you have to get a stud quarterback to live in this league. And their two quarterbacks, as we had lunch today, were your guy, Davis Mills, and the other guy they dragged in there, Case Keenum, who's, quote, just a guy.
Yeah.
Now, if you play great defense and you can run the football, I guess you can be competitive with just a guy. But the book is writing that neither Bryce Young nor C.J. Stroud is just a guy. So don't you need to make a commitment when you have the chance to get a stud?
Yeah.
To get the stud? But DeMeco Ryans seems to think I can live with Case Keenum as my quarterback for a year or two, or we'll go find somebody for a year or two. We're going to punch you in the mouth with the kind of defense we're building. They had a good defense last year, and they got the second pick and I think the 12th pick this year. And if Will Anderson is just a tremendous rush linebacker defensive end. I still think it's a quarterback's league, John, and you got to have a guy, and that guy would be C.J. Stroud. Yeah, he'd be young. You have to develop him, you grow him, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But you got a better chance of having a long-term run with C.J. Stroud than you would with Case Keenum, or some guy that you pick up later in the offseason or pick up in the third round this year that you got to develop. So it's a weird way of doing business because you only get one kick at the can probably in the course of you being the general manager, one chance to really get a difference maker at quarterback. And to me, either Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud would be the difference maker.
Yeah, I mean, and they have to win now. I mean, these guys don't have like a 10-year rebuilding program. I mean, they got to turn it around in a year or two. So I'm just befuddled by this. I don't know what they're going to do there. And we all thought Garoppolo was going to go, to Texas
based on past experience with DeMeco Ryans in Frisco.
Yeah, and that would have made a lot of sense. But so I don't know what the heck they're up to. But the draft's coming in a few weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun.
On we go. Next